Recorded live in Balcatta, Western Australia, the hoon capital of the world. This is Talkin' Power.
Gap is what happens when you hold to the floor and crush the man next to you. There's space in between your back lumbar and your front bumper. We in the South we refer to it as the gap band.
Well, I think Formula One is for grown-ups.
Shut the ground on this one, Rex. It's the guts.
When we start following the song is rattle the players, we're gonna get down the chairs!
Yes, listen, please, 51 words.
Previously.
So, what about the sideways? You've got a race in your own lane. Now he's on the grass, he brings it back. That's a great driving there.
Torque and Power, your motoring and motorsport podcast.
Okay, episode 44 of the Talk and Power podcast. I'm here with Simon Gonzo Travellini. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nick DeChembry. How are you, mate?
Mate, I have been so busy. It has been so ridiculous. I'm sorry I got here late.
That's all right.
I got held up. Little Nicholas wanted to cuddle before bedtime.
Fair enough. It's all good.
A bit overtired today. Waited up for Daddy.
Yep.
And after I finish, I'm actually going back to the workshop. And I just want a big shout out. I've got to do a rush job 727 for Keith up in Geraldton.
Oh, yeah.
Big shout out to CTS, Transmission Components Manufacturing Canada.
Yep.
I ordered the parts on Friday and they arrived today.
Oh, wow. Friday.
That's incredible.
You can't even get parts from
The East
Welshpool
Coast.
over to Balcatta in that time.
Probably not. I couldn't believe it. So, Paul, thank you very much for that. Much appreciated.
No, that's awesome. That is good service. So, yeah, for our listeners.
Yeah, two days, basically. 2 working days.
That is incredible from Canada.
And they speak English there.
You sure it's real English?
It's
Oi.
I'm telling you, it's English.
We've had a huge couple of weeks here at the podcast. If you haven't listened, go back a couple of days. We released the F1 in Schools podcast, and a big thanks to everyone there, Dr. Michael Myers, Deborah Maloney, Andy Cale as well for getting us involved, and all the schools that participated.
Were you blown away by the CNC machining?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe it.
And the fact that these kids can use AutoCAD at that age.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But some of these children, I have a lot of faith in our schooling now. I mean, I should have had faith before, but after seeing what I saw on last week, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And, hats off to those schools that
the equipment that they'd need to do that, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, you should definitely have a look. It's unbelievable. The wings and they basically build the whole vehicle.
Yeah.
Incredible. Incredible.
So, yeah, if you haven't heard that episode, head back there and have a listen to that one. It's a good one.
Nick.
Yes.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, old Daniel, he's tripping major nutsack. Not so much anymore. That was what he said after qualifying in Mexico. I want to get we had a quick chat about this yesterday, and you have a different view to me on this.
No. Look, I think that Red Bull in the past have had this one driver favouritism.
Yep.
We saw that with Mark Webber. He clearly could have won the Formula One championship that year, and they forced him under team orders to yield, basically. Yep. But I don't know, man. That's ridiculous. Isn't it embarrassing for Red Bull?
I feel it's embarrassing, and I don't like Christian Horner's comments after the US Grand Prix, which was 2 weeks ago now, where he basically said that Daniel's frustrated in the car, but he needs to talk to his new employees about it. And I felt that was a bit of, really wiping his hands clean of any responsibility. It was a bit of all care and no responsibility. Those are Christian's words. Yes, I understand he's running the Renault, but, you're still responsible for the car. This was a clutch failure in Mexico, and Daniel, was frustrated and insinuated that he's not going to race for the next 2 races. I think that was just out of sheer frustration.
Look, Nick, I think the real question is, has Red Bull found the dummy that he spat out? Have they found? Because I heard it went into orbit.
Yeah, well, I mean, Josh Verstappen, Max Verstappen's father, has slammed Ricciardo just today, actually, after his carry-on after qualifying, and also at the end of the race as well. So he's...
Understandably.
Yeah.
I mean, that car managed to not only finish the race, but win it.
Yeah. So, look, I felt that some of his frustration was just, and I stand, I feel like Daniel has been let down by the team, but a lot of people out there in the media, in the worldwide, world of Formula One, believe that it's not appropriate the way he conducted himself after the race, and like a true sportsman, needs to work with the team, even though there's only 2 races left in the season, needs to try and get the best out of it.
Of course.
Yep.
Now, I want to get your take on the 2 disqualified drivers.
That was hilarious. It was hilarious. We haven't had that sort of disqualification. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that we had Daniel had an infringement of this kind 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember, but it was very similar. So Kevin Magnussen used up more. The two different rule breaking here. So this was in the US Grand Prix. Kevin Magnussen, he's basically used too much fuel. He's gone over his 105 kilo limit by 170 grams. Now, Kevin being Kevin, I love Kevin Magnussen, actually. I think he's great for the sport and has labelled the rule as stupid.
Yep.
Whether it is or it isn't.
I was thinking that maybe NHRA could implement a similar rule, but you have to use a minimum of 60 litres of fuel in 3.5 seconds. Do you think that'd be a winner?
Why not? The other, Esteban Ocon, who still hasn't got a drive for next year, which I think is one of the world's biggest travesties. How this guy cannot have a drive for next year, but anyway, that's another story. He actually, they measure weight and fuel flow. He exceeded the 100 kilograms per hour fuel flow limit during the opening lap of the race, so he was disqualified. Heavy sanctions, they were actually disqualified from the race. Both those guys finished 8th and 9th, but got relegated to, or disqualified.
Well, mate, if you're using the fuel, when they go to electric, are they going to measure how many amps they're drawing? Or?
Well, they won't be going to electric. Formula E actually holds the rights to the full electric with the FIA for the next 25 years.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine Formula One being internal combustion of some, having part of their engine internal combustion
Nick,
for 25 years still.
If the rest, that's it. If the rest of the world, and they had a story on Hack the other day about it, and some countries by 2040 have locked it in that there will be no internal combustion engines. I don't really think that in Australia the people like shows like Hack really understand the impact.
Yeah.
They had some people there do some computer modelling suggesting there'd be 3,000 job losses. I find that number just way too small, because you think about it, the service stations, what are they going to do?
Yeah, no, it won't be 3,000.
Sell Smith's chips.
You're looking more like 300,000, really.
I think that, it's going to be ridiculous. Basically, exhaust shops, transmission shops, engine reconditioners, auto parts stores.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no oil changes anymore. There's no spark plugs, So the likes of the Veals and the Repcos... Basically, what's pre-existing now, the suspension places are probably the only ones that are still going to be in business.
Suspension and tyres.
Tyres, yes,
vinyl
of
wraps,
course.
Yep.
Tinted windows, yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be some sort of film that collects energy.
Paint shops. That'll still be all right.
It's one or the other, isn't it? Vinyl wrap or paint?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. They're going to be competing against each other, aren't they?
They are already.
Anyway, we're a bit off topic, but getting back to Formula One, Lewis Hamilton, look, credit where credit's due, 5 times world champion, what can you say about the guy?
He didn't actually get the job done at the US Grand Prix.
And he didn't really get the job done in Mexico either. He finished fourth, but it was a poor fourth for them, for Mercedes. Yeah. Actually, Valtteri finished fifth, but he got lapped by Max Verstappen, that fifth spot there. The Mercedes were shocking at both races, and they got a bit of work to do for the final two races, which is not in that order, Brazil and Abu Dhabi. They got their work cut out. But look, I mean, we're really taking probably a bit away from Lewis to finish the way he finished, 5 times world champion now. He's up there with Fangio. He's equalled Fangio, and there's only one man above him, Michael Schumacher, who's done 7. Yep. I think Lewis will do.
Oh, I think he will too.
Go beyond 7.
He's got enough age left in him to do it.
Yeah. And he's got the people around him, the right people around him. As far as I know, he's still single. That's probably his only downfall. I think once he finds a woman and has a family, he'll be even better.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just my view on life at the moment. But anyway,
thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. I think once these guys have children, they become even better. That's just my view. Anyway, the other thing, the bit of a wheel controversy brewing up here with Mercedes. They've redesigned their wheel. Now, they haven't released the wheel. They haven't put them on the car because they felt that Ferrari were going to protest it in any event. But they have been given the mandate from their FIA that they are allowed to use the new wheel. They were allowed to use it in Mexico. They had the mandate to use it. They felt that if they used it, it would have clouded Lewis's victory of the championship, so they haven't used it. But the ribbed concept of the wheel...
So all the other technology on the car, that doesn't cloud just this particular one?
No, because it's been cited. This ribbed technology that they're using on the wheel, Red Bull had a crack at it back in 2012, and it was deemed illegal. Now, it was deemed illegal because it was aiding in not just dissipating the heat from the wheel, but it was deemed as an aerodynamic advantage. That Mercedes claim that this isn't the case with their wheel and rim design, but however, and the FIA have okayed it. But in Mexico, they just didn't want to do it because it felt like it would just cloud Lewis's victory.
I believe that they've only okayed it for one race.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. So now
to run it again, they need to reapply.
That's correct. Yeah. But I have a feeling you'll see that in Brazil or Abu Dhabi, no doubt. So anyway, interesting times ahead. Also, speaking of interesting times ahead, I just felt it was interesting. Haas have named a new naming rights sponsor. This was kind of at the 11th hour for them, those guys, because the Rich Energy drink have come on board. The Rich Energy drink were looking at purchasing the Force India team and weren't able to do it, or fell down at the 11th hour. Now they've come on board with Haas, and it's quite interesting because Gene Haas has always said that he felt that he got better value out of branding his cars Haas in terms of the machining and the tool business that he does. However, it's not known yet exactly how the cars will look, but they'll probably be in the black and gold logos next year with the Rich Energy drink branding all over it. So, interesting times ahead.
It's a bit rich, really.
Yeah. And did you see, I don't know, you probably didn't see it, but Sebastian Vettel at the end of the Mexican Grand Prix went inside the Mercedes team there and congratulated everyone. Dropped a couple of CVs on the table as well. Oh, it was quite funny. But no, he went in there, real. I mean, Sebastian was quite nice at what he did, and I know a lot of those guys are German, so they probably admire
well, it is
Sebastian. Yes, they admire Sebastian and his ethics. So that was quite good. MotoGP, wow, the Australian Grand Prix.
Now, I had Nicholas on Sunday all day. Nicole asked me to take him out while she caught up with some chores, and I was hoping to watch this at my brother's house. Right,
I'm laughing because I know the story already.
Because I got there really early, you know. And
this is 2018, if I've ever heard it. This is where we're at in the world.
So my niece is thinking about getting a motorbike. She wants to get a motorbike license, and we're talking about motorbikes. And I said, well, that's great because the MotoGP's on, right? And if you're a motorcycle enthusiast, you should watch this because it's brilliant to watch. So I said to my brother, I think it's on Channel 1. It should be just about to start. So my brother doesn't have free to air TV. He's got Netflix and whatever, some million other channel thing, and he doesn't have the sports channel on all these Foxtel and so on and so forth. So we had to tune his TV
to the airwaves.
And by the time we finished, the bloody race was over.
That's where we're at in 2018.
It's a true story.
Isn't it?
So
unfortunately, I'll put my hand up and say I didn't watch the race either. I was actually on all 4 day out in York, so I didn't get to see it either. But
I think the truth is
replay.
neither of us want to admit that after Marquez won the championship, we lost it.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a bit of truth to that, but I like Marquez. I think he's okay. Very lucky man.
Very lucky man, and that's the
after
point I
this
was.
incident.
So I watched sections of the race, the highlights on YouTube, and I was absolutely blown away by the incident between Zarco and Marquez. Now we can argue about, what happened, whether Marquez blocked him. I don't know. I can't tell you. The thing that I think most people that have watched it have missed is the view from Ian Oney's seat, where he nearly gets decapitated.
I have seen that now. After you told me about it, it's frightening.
That is incredible. He is so lucky that he didn't die that day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that that incident changed the whole face of the race.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get the usual Marquez just walking away with it scenario.
Yeah.
And it was great to see Vinales and Yamaha take one out. Yamaha's really struggled for a long time now. Rossi was up there. I didn't actually have a look to see if they were on a different tyre strategy or what was going on there, but I'd suggest that was probably the case.
Yeah.
But great to see some new names. Great to see another Suzuki podium.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Zarco should have done that one race earlier, because then the championship would still be alive.
That's correct. Look, it was I was really happy to see the Yamaha up there. Actually, it's been it was Vinales' first win since Le Mans last year.
Mate, I remember when we started this podcast,
he was kicking ass.
Yeah, and they just fell off.
Yeah.
And I think that we talk about straight line speed. I don't know if it's straight line speed or if it's better power management to save the rear tyre, but something happened and everyone else seemed to leapfrog.
Yeah.
Whereas Yamaha were really relying on the skills of their riders,
Yeah.
more than the other brand. Well, I shouldn't say that, because Marquez, they're aliens. All these guys in the top 10 are all aliens, and the ones that aren't consistently in that top 3 or 4, it's only because they need more laps, I guess. They're nearly there.
It's interesting. Jack Miller led probably a lap or two of the race. It was good to see the Aussie up. Good to see him up there. I found
Think
out
about it, Nick. In the last couple of years, at the home race, pretty much, whether it be Zarco in France or Rossi in Italy, they always try and why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think maybe they go, what, stuff the tyre. So I'm gonna get out there and lead for a little bit, give people something to talk about, and I think that's great.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
But we found out during the week that he actually agreed to be Jorge's replacement. However, they dropped him at the last minute.
Well, they were more worried about him dropping the bike, I think.
Yeah, that's true. But I thought that I felt really bad for Jack. I mean, I think his reputation is still quite a good one. He has had a couple of incidences this year, but I felt it was a bit disappointing.
He's had an up and down year. We need to understand that the reason that we're waiting for him to do something is because he had that big win.
Yeah.
Right. But you also have to remember that when he had that win in the rain, the odds were 1,000 to 1. 1,000 to 1.
Yeah.
Right. So, he's there, and possibly on a factory bike, maybe he'll be better. But it's not just about getting on the bike. It's about being able to tell the team, I need this, this, and this, and then the team being able to deliver that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it is what it is. I'm sure he's not going anywhere.
No,
he's still relatively young. He's still got a lot of...
definitely.
A lot left in him.
Yep.
So the superbikes.
Yeah, look, we had a another rain cancelled event. This time it was in Qatar, of all places.
You wouldn't expect it, would you?
Of all the places on earth.
But it's, Nick, it's a bit like the Nullarbor. Every single time I've driven across the Nullarbor, I mean, there's no trees there. There's no trees, right? You'd think there's no trees because there's no water. And every time I drive across the Nullarbor, it rains.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Anyway, the LaSalle International Circuit in Qatar was washed out, unfortunately. So it was a finale as well of the World Superbike. So Jonathan Rea ends the season with a 189-point advantage. He's won the 2018 title.
On a Kawasaki. Now this is an interesting thing because when this new style K1, for I guess lack of a better description, came out, I was blown away by how much horsepower these things were making. So to put it in perspective, my bike's got, a few, nothing internal, but a few mods done to it.
Yep.
And it's making about 167 at the tyre. Guys were getting these things, the standard ones. Obviously the race bikes are completely different, but the architecture, I think, is derived in some way.
Yep.
And putting a slip on, so factory exhaust, factory air cleaner, just slip on and tune, and going over 200. Now, I never actually saw representative numbers at the drags to validate that, but with a bike, it's different to a car. There's a lot of it is in the rider, you know what I mean? So I've always wondered what they'd be like, because when you go to Barbagallo's, where we're using more factory style bikes, the BMW is really the bike to be on. It just shows you they're making some horsepower.
Yeah.
And they built some crazy bikes a while back, the supercharged H1 and H2, unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of washed out events, Gold Coast 600, what a disaster that was.
Well,
the Saturday race, Chaz
yeah,
Mostert and James Moffat, they got a first victory this year, those guys. So
it was also their second Gold Coast 500.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. So 2 in a row for those guys, or 600, sorry. But Sunday, what a disaster.
The rain was quite heavy. It was, obviously it was
torrential.
Yeah.
It was torrential rain.
Yeah, so the race got called. It's interesting. I just want to know your thoughts. Roland Dane, I like Roland Dane. Don't get me wrong. I like him.
No, you
good
don't.
Man. No, he's all right. He's a good guy.
You're always criticising.
But he needs to cut back with the showboating. Now, what I mean by that is he came on, they interviewed him, and he carried on about how the race needed to be cancelled. I get all that. But
I think it wasn't just him. There was some races that...
Yeah. We all agree with that. But the insinuation was that it would be unlikely to continue the race later in the day because of TV commitments. Now, Roland Dane vehemently denied all of that. I don't know. I think we need to start acknowledging the fact that TV does dictate when these races are held.
All motor racing.
My point is this.
Or all live motor racing, I should say.
My point is this. The race wasn't until the afternoon in Queensland time. They knew the heavy weather was coming.
Yes, they did. Why didn't they run it earlier?
Earlier, yeah, and put the support races later in the day.
I don't know. It wouldn't have affected. It wouldn't have affected TV. Would have been a delayed telecast. The time slot's already there. Yeah. It's still going to be live for everyone that's not at the track.
I still think TV dictates a lot
I don't know
what happens, and Roland's denial of that and the way he denied it.
I think that sometimes sporting organisations become too big for the way they're managed, and I think V8 Supercars is a prime example of that.
Yeah.
They are run like Ravenswood.
Yep.
But they're turning over, money like, well, not Formula One, but or like Speedway.
Yeah.
American Speedway. I'm not, not Australian Speedway.
Speaking of American,
Yep.
Gold Coast, we saw the NASCAR of Joey Logano's NASCAR. It's Roger Penske's car on display there and doing some demonstration laps. Let's just have a listen to that.
Listen to that power trying to get to the ground. Probably wouldn't have the best tyres on it either. I'd say those things would be old Fred Flintstone specials.
It's been on display in the DJR Team Penske workshop just down the road here at Stapleton for the past 12 months or so. It was shipped out from the US late last year. And you may have seen some news this morning. Potentially, you might see a demonstration race here in the years to come. There's been talk between our CEO, Sean Seamer, and the NASCAR bosses in the United States that were out here at the Bend Motorsport Park a couple of months ago right now. And wouldn't it be great to see these cars back out? Because they did race here in the 90s and had some great racing too.
They did. The Australian version of NASCAR ran here in the late 90s.
So it was interesting that they pulled that car out, and I think that was actually the major attraction of the whole weekend. Unfortunately, is this one NASCAR getting around the track.
Why has it got windscreen wipers?
No, they only did it on the... Unfortunately, Fabian was scheduled for the Sunday. And
Listen, before you go any further, are you allowed to use that?
No, it's only sound.
It's only sound. That's all right.
There was no video.
We're not going to get sued.
Oh, jeez, we're out of focus there too. Hang on a sec. We were talking about the potential of having the NASCAR at the Gold Coast, second tier Xfinity.
I'm pretty sure a lot of the NASCAR drivers have got dysmorphia.
No, I don't. Nah. So that's I was going to say something, I better not. So it'll be interesting to see how they go forward with that. It'd have to be. It wouldn't be the top tier race because they have a conflicting event on. So it'd be.
Yeah, but has the calendar been released for next year?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, V8 Supercars released their calendar, so has NASCAR as well. So. Be interesting. It'll probably be more than likely Xfinity Series, but who knows?
Do you think that the V8 guys are going to do the same thing that they did with the stadium trucks?
Kick them out.
No. Let the NASCARs run for a couple of events, few events, whatever. Right? Use the lower tier ones, and then phase out the V8 supercars and transition over to NASCARs.
I wouldn't have thought so, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that does happen.
And do you think that there's this, like some link? I'm being serious. But do you think that there's sorry to all the listeners, you missed. We had to cut a whole section.
There's a whole scene. There's a whole section missing out.
There's an hour gone out of this show.
If you listen to the best of it, might make that.
It might. Yes.
After I speak with the lawyers.
Yes. And Nick and I are going to start a foundation to raise money and awareness. Right.
We'll see how that goes.
Yes, we will. Anyway, so do you think that over the next, if it's well received, over the next few years, they'll get rid of the V8s and switch over to NASCAR?
Look, there's no reason why they couldn't do that. What
I was going to say is, do you think that there's a link between the death of Bob Jane, the father of NASCAR in Australia, and V8 supercars deciding to do this? Did he still have some legal right over those types of vehicles running in this country?
He possibly did. I never thought about that, but yeah, you're probably onto something there. He may have.
Maybe this was like the whole involvement with Roger Penske and Andretti.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the future of V8 supercars.
Yeah. I thought there was more synergy between supercars and Trans Am racing in the US, but
no one watches Trans Am.
No, they
US.
don't. No, they don't. It's
like the SWCA racing. It's fantastic, but no one watches it.
Yeah. It's probably 4 for 50.
NASCAR is the main show.
But no, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Just while we're on Gold Coast 600, just to finish up, James Moffat actually got banned from the Sunday Porsche race. And
God, Nick, this is the funniest thing that I have read.
There was a potential that he was actually going to be missing the supercar race as well, but the ban didn't apply to the supercar events. So he was, luckily enough, he was slated to race in the Chaz Mostert entry on the Sunday. But he got into an altercation with Glenn Wood after Glenn Wood, I guess insulted him and may have abused him.
Did he call him American?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Because his dad's actually Canadian.
Yeah,
they speak English there.
It was just, yeah.
They do, man.
They do. They speak very good English. No, I've been to Canada. And I love
So have I.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Where have
it.
you been?
I went to Calgary, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Peace River, and then over to a place called Regina. That's how you say it. I'm writing it out. That's how you say it.
Really?
That's how.
Isn't that Regina?
No, it's Regina.
Regina. Okay.
So, and then I actually drove into the US after that. So, no, it was cool. I enjoyed my time in Canada. But yeah, interesting enough, he got a $5,000 fine, and $2,500 of it has been suspended. The $2,500 has actually been paid by Boost Mobile.
Oh.
They felt that that the punishment didn't fit the crime, and they've actually picked up the bill. And they have no association at all with James Moffat, believe it or not.
So,
there you go.
So they've got no association. So do they sponsor the Porsche category or
No. They just felt the owner of Boost Mobile, which his name escapes me right now, felt that wasn't fitting, and they actually picked up the bill.
Well, I'll tell you what, the owner of Boost Mobile, I think that I need sponsorship, and no one's giving me any. So
yeah.
$2.5 grand, no worries, we'll take it.
I'm gonna have to cut myself saying his name in here. Such and such, give us. They're actually
you
looking
could
at.
keep that cut and just change the name. You know, Jack Cowan.
Let's put it all in different names.
Kerry Packer, Kerry Stokes.
Gina. I haven't heard from her in years, so
I know.
Not that I hear from her in the first place, but
So are you friends on Facebook?
No. Speaking of wealthy millionaires, Jamie Whincups bought 15% of Triple Eight.
Yes,
I was blown away by this. Good on him. Good on him, I say, Jamie. I'd take my.
Do you think he's going to keep it real for Roland Jane?
I hope so. I like Roland Dane. Not that I don't like
Roland Dane. Roland J.
Roland J.
Roland Dice.
So anyway, he becomes part owners now with Roland Dane, Tim Miles, Paul Dumbrell, and Roland's daughter, Jessica. So they're all
Is there something going on between Jamie Whincup and Jessica?
Oh, it's a good question. I don't know. I should know that, shouldn't I, if there is?
You should.
Yeah, but no, I don't. Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. He's single. Well, he was.
Don't know. I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
How old's Roland's daughter?
Oh, she'd be about the same vintage as Jamie. Anyway, yeah, good.
Might have heard her first.
Yeah. There you go. We might have. He's listening to this right now, so don't work that out.
It's the Nostradamus, mate. It's the nose that knows.
So good luck to Jamie. I do. Seriously, I think that's a great move, and it's smart. It's good to see young guys like him. Well, young, he's 35 years old, but it's good to see guys like him investing in the sport, not just taking from the sport, but putting back into it.
You know what that means? The fact that you've called him young means that we're old.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's only bloody 8 years younger than me, so he's not that young. He's young. All right.
Anyway. This is the news that I've been waiting to talk about, Nick.
Yeah, I bet you've been hanging.
I've been hanging.
I had to put it in. I wasn't even going to put it in, but
I know. So the Super Utes.
Yep.
They're coming to Perth.
They're coming to Perth under lights, everyone.
Yeah. Now, Nick, what is the deal with running the supercars at night at Barbagallo?
Yeah, I think they wanted to have a night race somewhere in Australia, the supercars. And the Sydney one this year didn't quite meet their expectations, so they're shifting it to Perth and seeing how that runs here.
Do you think that we've got the facilities there to run it? I mean, I know that they run, 12-hour races or whatever at the track, and I've spoken to a couple of drivers that have run in it, and they said it was good fun. They have scheduled pit stops, so regardless of the vehicle needs work or not, they have to come in and wait so much time, swap drivers, etc. But do you think that for the spectators, do you think that the facilities are there?
Not really, not for a nighttime event. They're going to have to sharpen up the moving. The moving of people in and out is done by buses now anyway. Very few cars go into the joint. But I have concerns with, the buses still take a gravel track to get into the place and out of there. And I think at night time that might be problematic on it.
What about things like the toilets and
stuff
lighting?
like that. Yeah.
They're gonna have to hire a shitload of lights.
Yeah,
because that's a pretty big place when you.
I agree with you, and that's one of the first things that came into my mind as well. Like I felt more of getting in and out at night time might be a little bit of an issue, but
and the other thing that I'd be worried about. So let's say they put up a heap of temporary fencing, right, and they try and contain people to certain areas so that they can really focus on the lighting. The temptation for people to duck and dive around that temporary fencing and getting to trucks and trailers at night. I mean, you're under the cloak of darkness, and while all the action's happening on the track, no one's going to be watching this stuff. It's different after the event or before the event, but during the event, everyone's eyes are on the track.
To be frank with you, the Super 2 cars, if they come, that is, but the Super 2 cars and these utes, where they park up, it's not secure at all, even during the day.
Yep.
It's not like anyone can
but during the day, you've got people there, security, and the cover of night.
Yeah.
It's, anyway.
Anyway, it'd be very interesting
It's very
to see.
interesting, and what I'm more interested to see is what the Super Utes lap Barbagallo's in, because we're going to have to get this Camry going now that it's on. It's on.
We have to get the Camry running for more reasons than one, but we'll talk about that a bit later. NHRA, still one event to go, but Top Fuel has already been wrapped up by someone that was very unlucky last year not to win the championship, went into the chase or the finals or whatever you countdown, whatever you want to call it, went into that as a strong leader, and Brittany just ran away with it in the countdown and won the championship, and it was very disappointing for him last year. This year he turned it right around.
Do you agree with all of these,
No.
race to the chase and...
No, I don't. No.
You get out there, kick people's asses,
Yeah.
you amass points, he who has the most points. They don't seem to have it in the MotoGP.
No.
And it's usually a pretty close finish.
They don't have it in Formula One either. But
No.
there again, we just brought up two bad arguments for us, because MotoGP was one race ago and there was still 3 to run, and Formula One has been wrapped up and there's still 2 races to go. So
Yeah, but I mean, look, Marquez wrapped it up. Phillip Island was still exciting to watch. I mean, arguably one of the best stacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, look.
And Top Fuel, Nitro Funny Car, Top Fuel, not so much Pro Stock, Pro Mod. They're always good to watch on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, Top Fuel has been won by Steve Torrence. Let's have a listen to Steve here.
As an 8th grader, one of Steve Torrance's goals was to be a world champion, just like the late Gary Ormsby, who passed away from cancer. But the Capco kid has not only beaten his cancer, he's beaten the best in the world to become the 2018 Top Fuel World Champ.
This is a lifelong goal right here, and all the glory goes to God, my mom and dad, because without them, none of this would even be possible. And every one of those Capco boys on that race team, because they put their heart in it. And it's difficult to beat people with heart. But man, all the boys back home at Capco, we got it done, guys. Oh, I don't even know what to say. This is unreal. We still got some racing to do. We still need to go one round. We got to stay focused, but my brother Antron Brown was here with me. All them Capco people, all them people that said we couldn't do it, hell, we're here. I don't know how we got here, but the good Lord said we was going.
Really great. It's a great
Amen
story.
to that. Amen to that.
Yeah, and I'm really, really chuffed for that man to win that championship, especially after the disappointment of last year. Not to take anything away from Brittany, of course. I think Brittany really turned it on in the finals last year. I think she won 3 of the 4 of.
Oh, well, you have to with the
events.
countdown system.
Yeah, she really turned it on. But in fairness to Steve, he turned the tables in the countdown this year. I think he won just about everything that he could possibly win. So he did really well. In the other championship that was decided, was the last race, was Pro Mod Championship. As I said in our previous podcast, it was down to 2. It was Ricky Smith and Mike Janis. Interesting way Mike Janis won this championship. The scenario or how it went down. He actually qualified higher than Ricky Smith by a considerable amount. Qualified 5th, Ricky Smith 14th. So Ricky Smith needed to progress 3 rounds more than Mike Janis. So it was sort of going to go Mike's way. However, he lost first round. He lost in the first round. Ricky Smith got through the first round but lost in the second. Let's just have a listen to that race, and also this is some interesting commentary here. Just have a listen to this.
Now comes down to 1 5-second blast in Las Vegas, Nevada. Both cars now are pre-staged. How long are we going to sit here? Rick Horde is not a guy who is given to... Wow, Ricky Smith got in there quick. I figured Rick Horde was going to really have to wait on him, but he didn't. Horde goes in. Reaction time advantage. Another 018 reaction time for Ricky Smith. Rick Horde's car skating around to the top end of the race. It's Horde! Mike Janis is your 2018 NHRA E3 Spark Plugs Pro Modified Champion, and they are having a conniption fit down there as Ricky Smith gets outrun by the scourge of his existence, a turbocharged Pro Mod. 575.6, 254 for Horde, and Ricky Smith 584.3 at 247 miles an hour.
What will be the highlight of this season for you?
I guess the highlight was Richmond when we took the win there, because we struggled. We haven't had a win in a couple years. Richmond, everything went great. The whole year of season's we've been going rounds and rounds. Car's been flawless. The crew has been really flawless, and Junior gives me a lot of confidence going. So it's right up until the last. I'm watching. It looked like Ricky had him, and right at the stripe, I'm like, it still hasn't set in yet.
For those of you who watch the video, or if you listen to the podcast, let's watch the video version as well, because Rick Horde really wound him in right at the end. I reckon it was the last
turbo car.
Yeah, got him right at the end. Scourge of his existence.
Yeah, that was a bit harsh. Hey, that was a bit harsh. Jeez.
Ricky Smith, what could he do? It was an 015 light. Still lost. So yeah, that's how that went down. But I tell you what, Mike Janis actually has won 2 IHRA Pro Mod Championships. I thought it was more than that, but I did my research today. He's won 2 IHRA Pro Mod Championships. He's now got his first NHRA Pro Mod Championship. So, hats off to him. It was a job well done. Funny Car Championship is still open, so that goes to Pomona. And also Pro Stock as well. Just bearing in mind it's a 50% point advantage for the finals. So there's instead of 100 points, there's 150 up for grabs. So there's still a few drivers in contention for Funny Car and for Pro Stock. Interesting.
Ron Caps, he hasn't got enough to.
Well, no, it's 100, but you get 10. You get 10 for round wins as well.
Yeah, but the other
qualifying.
2 would have to not qualify.
Yeah. But yeah, so it goes to Robert.
He just never seems to get it done, does he?
No, he's won 1 championship 2 years ago, but he hasn't. Before that was any championships.
Mate, how many seconds? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for the guy because he's a great guy, great ambassador for the sport.
Looks like Tanner Gray will probably, more than likely, win the Pro Stock Championship. However, there's Erica and Jed Coughlin Jr. in the Elite Motorsports team right on their tail. So, it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. That will wrap up NHRA for the season. Speaking of drag racing, while we're still on it, 400 Thunder, the second round gets underway next weekend, or this weekend, whenever you listen to this podcast.
The East Coast Thunder, Western Sydney International Dragway.
Yeah, huge event this one. Huge event, has the full plethora of all Group 1 racing there. John Zapier smashed out this weekend at Sydney, a 5.64, 257 mile an hour. Amazing.
He's getting it done.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a shot over the bow, so to speak.
So let's see how he goes on race day.
Yep.
Good luck, John.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Power Palooza was on this weekend.
You can't say that now without
Power Palooza. I've
ruined it for you.
Just comes out every time. In saying that, it was a huge crowd. I don't know if you've seen some of the photos and some of the feedback. It was a massive crowd down there. We did say on the podcast, get there early. So those people that were complaining about the long queues, we told you so. Now, I think it was a bit problematic getting into the place, but we did say to get there early. So
it's good that they, they really need to make some money. If they don't make some money this year, I don't know how much longer that track's going to be open.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was $20 tickets for this event. So that would have dictated probably.
You think that might be why?
Yeah.
So maybe the
Massive
Motorplex
crowd.
should drop their prices.
I don't know their business model, but the crowd
less than half the price that it normally is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it was a full house.
Oh, it was packed. It was amazing. It was really good to see, actually. Next event is this weekend, 3rd of November. It's a super speedway. Kids will be free for that. Super Speedway Stampede. Next drag racing event is the opener for the WA Drag Racing Championship. That's the 10th of November. Looking forward to that.
Also, the West Coast Nats this weekend.
That's correct, yeah. Yep. So if you're Friday and Saturday, 2nd and 3rd of November, if you've got nothing to do on Friday and Saturday, head down to Barbagallo Raceway, West Coast Nats. It's always a pretty big event, that one.
Yeah, there'll be some serious burnouts there.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Race Wars as well. Entries are now open. I think it opened the other day, and I think they're already filling up very quickly for the Z-Max entries. That's filling up quite fast, from what I understand. Race Wars guys, as you know, have built an AU last year. They've managed to get that down the track on Wednesday night, 11-4. Probably would have gone faster. They had some linkage problems, so they're going to take it back in the coming Wednesdays.
When you say linkage problems, what is it, like a Massey Ferguson? It's got a 3-point linkage?
No, transmission linkage problems.
Oh.
I don't know what they were, but that's what they said, though. Transmission linkage issues.
What sort of transmissions have you got in it?
I don't know.
Interesting.
But they're looking down the barrel of a 10-second run with that car. They asked us. They wanted to know where the Camry was and where we were. So I think that's a call out. I think that's about as close as a call out as you can get.
11-4. I don't know. That's it's only what 1.5 seconds quicker. Don't you want to really smash us?
Anyway, that's Race War. So get on to that. That's going to be huge. Long weekend of the first long weekend of the year. Next year will be March. I don't know the exact dates, but it'll be the first weekend of March.
Now, you went on the All Ford Day.
I did, yeah. Awesome day. Left from Kingsway Oval, drove through to 2J, then from 2J to Northam to York, and then parked up there for the day, walked around, and then drove back home. Much to my children and wife's. I don't think they enjoyed it as much as what I did, but anyway, it was a great day out.
I don't understand how you could feel that way in a car that's got wind-up windows, AM radio, no air conditioning.
It probably wasn't the ideal day to go for a long drive. I tell you what, the car just runs like a dream. The more you drive it at 100, it just wants to stay.
It does 100.
Just does 100. It's like down the hills it did 110. So. No, it was a great day, and hats off to the committee that put the All 4-day cruise together. I think they do a great job. There's heaps of photos at our Facebook page, so head on over there and have a look at the photos. Some really nice cars. Drag Challenge, they're not in the notes, but I've just written it down. That's coming up as well. We'll have another podcast before that starts, but those guys, a lot of WA guys heading over for that. They'll be racing Calder Park, Swan Hill, Mildura, back to Swan Hill, back to Calder Park, 1,500 kilometres.
Good effort.
It is a good effort.
It is.
And we wish all those guys all the best, all the entrants there, that they get down the track safely.
Now this is the latest issue of Drag News, if you can see it.
It's a great read.
Excellent read.
Luke Newhoff.
Yes, Luke. I recommend that if you're not subscribed to it, get subscribed in it. There is an awesome story, speaking of Drag Challenge, on Richie Crampton's, on Drag Week, but in particular, Richie Crampton's, can I say that?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, shit of doom I'm assuming that's what the two stars. It's actually SH star box. I'm assuming that. Would you say that box?
Yeah. I'm just thinking now all the kids that tuned in last week to the F1 in schools will be listening to this episode, so maybe...
Yeah, you'll have to bleep that
I'll
out.
bleep that out.
Anyway, excellent story, excellent read. I want to do this, Nick.
That'd be awesome to do.
I think that this is the go. We need to talk to Noonan about sponsoring us some heads and a block.
Yep.
And we'll just take everything out of the BA. Actually, we'll leave it in the BA.
Yeah.
Just put a radiator in it.
Yep. A radiator, some plates, and that's about it.
It's a BA.
Yeah.
Put taxi plates on it. Anyway, do yourself a favour. Get yourself a copy of Drag News. You'll have to subscribe to get it sent to you. Awesome read. The photography in it is incredible. There is not every issue just gets better and better, and I would say, and I don't want to take anything away from the guys at Street Machine, but this is, definitely top notch magazine.
Yeah. He's only a young fellow too, Luke.
Well, once again,
he's actually not
we're
young.
old.
Yeah, he's not young anymore, Luke. But he's a long time listener of the podcast. He's actually sat in that chair not that long ago, less than a year ago. So
and he's a championship winning drag racer.
He is,
and he's raced in. You got to that's what I admire about that guy. He is one of the few people that reports on the sport that has actually been in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Not just here, but in the USA as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Worked in the sport in so many different... I would argue that he's probably the best person to become the new CEO of Andra if it ever happens.
Yeah.
Definitely with the most experience, because he's just worked in so many different areas in the sport.
That's right, yeah.
So, and raced.
Yeah.
And been a championship winner.
Yep, he's done it all.
So, Nick, when are we going to work on the Camry? If we've been called out, I guess we better get it together.
I'm ready to work on it whenever you are. No problem with me.
Yeah? Are you committing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Because I'd like to have it. We should really probably take it down to Albany.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weekend away.
Yeah, I'll probably have to stay at home.
Okay. Me and Dave can go down.
Yeah, you guys can take it
Cruise
down
there.
Tape the windows in this time.
Yes.
Don't want to scare any guys in Hondas anymore. What's amazing is how far that window went flying and didn't break.
I know, yeah. Didn't break at all. Didn't even scratch.
And Toyota.
Yeah.
See?
Good stuff. It is good stuff. All metric too. I love it.
And interestingly enough, what does J.R. Todd drive?
Yeah, Toyota Camry.
He drives a Camry,
yeah,
you see?
Yeah, Dad Shell Camry.
The world is seeing it.
Yeah, it is.
There's an article in this, in Drag News, about Jamboree.
Yep.
Titan guys.
Yeah.
Camry,
yep.
Yeah.
The new Camry's a good-looking car too.
11.4, we should be able to sort that out.
All right, a bit of work to do. All right, Simon, thanks for coming in. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having us, Nick.
No worries. We'll see you soon.
See you on the street. Talk and Power stresses all characters and events on this podcast, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated poorly. We do not encourage street racing or the use of turbochargers.